Solar value 50, the Jack of Spades. The card of the spiritual initiate. The Jack of Spades is the Uranus card on the Mars line. The card of spiritual initiation and of self-mastery, the preparation for self-mastery that we then find in the Queen of Spades. It's the trickster card. It's one of the most creative cards in the entire deck. It's a youthful card. It's a creative card that knows how to summon forces, but that also knows how to be dishonest. It's a very powerful card, and there are only 2 in the entire year, shown here on the right-hand side. January 3rd, February 1st. Those are the only 2 birthdays for the Jack of Spades. The notes say that for the Jack of Spades, life is a masterclass in stealth, strategy, and initiation into the deeper mysteries of self-mastery. The Jack of Spades is no ordinary figure. This is the card of the spiritual trickster, the sacred actor, the one who moves behind the scenes with both cunning and integrity. To understand their journey, let's have a look at the 8 planetary influences that shape their life path in rather profound ways. In Mercury, we find a fixed card, and that is the 8 of clubs. So their mind is governed by power, and power in knowledge. It lends this Jack an intense mental discipline. There's a sharpness here, an ability to focus with almost hypnotic depth. This is someone who can outthink a room, not to dominate, but to see through complexity and bring order to chaos. It's also a signal of stubborn thought patterns, fixed thought patterns. When they believe something, they really believe it. But this is also where their genius lies. When they channel that laser focus into solving problems, decoding symbols, or mastering a skill. Communication can be deliberate and precise with a mental stamina that few can rival. Imagine that mind. There is power in that mind. And as always, with power comes responsibility. And that's the department where the Jack usually lacks. Most people don't know that they're Jacks. They don't know that they've been given that energy. In the court, all the perks, none of the responsibilities. That they're here to test, to try things out. And that their dishonesty is almost part of the game. That makes other people aware, more aware, and that also helps them to leave the lower realms and enter the higher realms. Because Jacks need to grow up. They don't want to grow up. And with all Jacks, the women have a lot of male qualities and the men have a lot of female qualities, because the Jacks represent the androgynous element or attribute that is neither male nor female, undecided. And that's why that gets mixed up. And if you know Jacks, probably other Jacks more than Jack of Spades, you'll probably agree. And here with the Jack of Spades, an incredibly strong mind that can be too powerful, and then once again is asked to find satisfaction within, self-sufficiency on the mental side, not without. Don't manipulate others. Don't be too overpowering, especially with that Mercury position. But find mental stability and mental power within yourself first, and then you can use it for all your conquests, for all your endeavors, for all the things that make up your initiation. And the Spades card. At the very end, first the emotions, then the mind, then the values, and now the spirit. Communication can be deliberate and precise with a mental stamina that few can rival. So if you encounter a Jack of Spades, keep that in mind. In Venus, we have a lane change because now we have left the Mars line and we are on the Jupiter line. Six of Diamonds. In the realm of love, values and relationships, the Six of Diamonds speaks of karmic balance. This Jack is drawn to fairness in emotional exchange. Give and take must be equal. They have strong convictions about what's right in love, and they stick to those values. Because sixes, as we know, once they make a decision, they stick with it. But there's also quiet strength in the way they love. Consistent, reliable, and sometimes slow to act, but never reckless. Relationships often reflect karmic echoes, teaching lessons about value and worth, not just in money, but in mutual respect. It's quite nice to have a 6 as your Venus card, because it brings that slow karmic energy in there, and with a little bit of awareness that can be handled very, very nicely and make for a satisfying relationship life. Intimate relationships and relationships with other people. Here it's about compromise, which is nice. It's about responsibility, which in the relationship field of Venus is nice. But then again, sixes tend to get into a rut, which is not so nice. Slow to change is nice in a relationship, but don't overdo it. And the Jack of Spades needs to watch out for that. And remember, on the Jupiter line now, we encounter even cards. And the 8 of clubs in Mercury was also an even card. So very strong, even influence, stabilizing influence. And when you look at the 10 of spades, for instance, the card before, stable card, lots of uneven cards, odd cards. Here we've got an odd card and we find a lot of even cards in its life path. In Mars we find the 4 of spades, the card of drive and conflict. And this card grounds the Jack's actions and structure, which is necessary. There's a deep desire for stability, both physically and emotionally. They are builders, people who strive to create solid foundations wherever they go. But this can also make them resistant to sudden change or emotional risk. Their strength lies in perseverance. When others burn out, they keep showing up, often without needing applause. Because 4 of spades, once again, it's that below the horizon, very subdued quality, but very strong quality, very dutiful, very diligent, resourceful, satisfying, ordered and structured. Lovely energy for Mars, because Mars, wants to forge ahead, create change, display that clear, almost visionary male energy, because that has come from the time in Venus, the passive side, where things were gestated, and now it's time for action. And now we get a really nice stable card for that action. It's not an erratic one. It's not one that doesn't deliberate. And helps that Jack of Spades to create actions in structure. It grounds the Jack's actions in structure. That's what it says here. Under Jupiter, we find another even card. And that is the 10 of hearts, which is nice because it's the card of popularity with other people. So the growth, the expansion for that Jack of Spades lies in being popular with others. That's the 10 of hearts is a stage personality card. They like to shine, but they don't like to shine for the sake of shining. They like to shine for the sake of helping others get motivated. And here, the connection between the 10 of hearts, the popularity with other people, in conjunction with spiritual insight, spiritual creativity, spiritual initiation. So the Jack of Spades can help others become more tuned into their spiritual side, explore it, be creative there, test it out, see what's possible, and be surprised by the results. Because our problems are not solved on the emotional side. Our problems are not solved on the mental side. Our problems are not solved on the material side. Our problems, it's funny enough that the spiritual suit is the last one. It's the spiritual realm that solves our problems. Because there we polarize. There we understand that everything is already there for us in form of potential. And that we're tapping into that, using the emotions, using the mind, using the material side in order to manifest those things, to make those things happen in our life and to be content and satisfied with the results. And here it says, there's charisma here, an ability to light up a room, draw attention, and even lead. The Jack has the potential to connect with the public, to be seen and loved widely, but it must be balanced popularity. But it must be balanced. Popularity without authenticity feels hollow. At their best, they uplift others through joy, enthusiasm, and a big-hearted presence. Success can come through social channels, performance, or emotionally driven missions. That's a perfect combination between that spiritual initiate energy of the Jack of Spades and the Ten of Hearts in Jupiter. It gets better still when we come to Saturn, because here we find another 10. And as we had before, we find a card that has 2 red cards in sequence. First the Hearts cards, then the Diamonds cards. Here it's the Ten of Hearts in Jupiter and the Ten of Diamonds in Saturn. It offers a test in self-worth and financial mastery. There may be early life pressure to make it big or prove value through material achievement. Discipline is key here, not just with money, but with recognizing what truly has worth. The challenge, not mistaking wealth for wisdom. This Jack learns that real value isn't found in possession, but in purposeful contribution. And again and again and again, Saturn loves the order and the structure, and here gets that order and the structure, gets the manifestation power of the Ten of Diamonds. So it really likes that. It's almost as if the negative influences, that which Saturn is trying to teach us, is being offset, is being balanced out, is being wiped out by that Ten of Diamonds. Because it gets that. It brings that energy to the table, that Saturn requests. Which is nice. Discipline is key here, not just with money, but with recognizing what truly has worth. But just because you've got money, or you can make money, doesn't mean that you're wise. So there's still a downside, and that is that you are confusing worth and value with wisdom. When we come to Uranus, we find another black 8, and that's the 8 of Spades. Remember, 8 of Clubs in Mercury. So there's a very powerful mind, and under Uranus we find yet another very powerful card, the 8 of Spades. With Uranus comes sudden change and unconventional pathways, and the 8 of Spades is a card of power, especially physical or energetic. This is someone whose strength surprises others. They might follow unusual routines or healing practices, or even rebel against traditional models of productivity. But their power is consistent, not loud. When they embrace their own rhythm, they become unstoppable. Resistance to authority can be fierce, but only when authority feels false. Remember, Jack of Spades energy, here another strong Spades card in Uranus, for any kind of change, for any kind of innovation, for any kind of interaction with other people on a more superficial level. There's tremendous power in that 8 of Spades. Not an easy life path, because that has, just like the 10 of Spades, a lot of odd cards on the Jupiter line with the Ace of Hearts and the Ace of Diamonds, and then all the cards on the Saturn line. Queen of Diamonds, 5 of Hearts, 3 of Clubs, 3 of Spades, 9 of Hearts, 7 of Clubs, and then the 5 of Diamonds and Pluto. 8 of Spades. But here, for the Jack of Spades, it brings physical and energetic power. So the Jack of Spades is not being pushed around. It's a court card. So when changes come, the Jack of Spades is prepared. It knows. Very creative card, very adaptable card. Under Neptune, we find a hearts card. We had a 10 of hearts in Jupiter. Now we find an ace of hearts in Neptune. And again, very powerful cards, but also very self-centered cards. All the 10s are. 10 of hearts, 10 of diamonds, 8 of spades, and now an ace of hearts in Neptune. The realm of dreams, illusions, and higher love. And here, the ace of hearts points to a deep, even secret longing for new emotional beginnings. Emotional beginnings is ace of hearts. In the realm of dreams, illusions, there's a romantic inside this strategist, someone who craves deep emotional renewal. At times, this longing may express as idealism or escapism in love, but when matured, it becomes a capacity to love purely without agenda. Because that's ace energy. They're clean. They're self-centered, but they're clean. Because they haven't been soiled, because they haven't embarked on the journey that could soil them with a 2, with a 3, with a 4, etc. Their spiritual path is linked to emotional awakening. Lovely. Emotional awakening. All the power, also the manifesting power, but here it's emotional awakening. Under Pluto, we find another ace, and this is the ace of diamonds. The force of transformation in Pluto. The ace of diamonds calls them towards a rebirth of values. This isn't just about money, it's about mission. The Jack of Spades must undergo a transformation of purpose, shifting from serving self to serving something greater. They're in the court in the last suit, something greater. It often requires letting go of a false sense of security, especially when tied to identity or status. But when they commit to this deeper calling, they shine as visionary entrepreneurs, healers, or teachers. Just as so many other cards in this deck, you must have noticed that so many are here to teach, to heal, or to start new ventures that improve services or products, therefore the life experience of those who come in touch with those products and services. And here under Pluto, it means I desire wealth. The Jack of Spades is about spiritual initiation. It's about taking responsibility for the spirit realm in a way. But Jacks want to play. They want to experiment. They're not sure which way they will go, and they will try things out. But the responsibility, that's not really theirs. But here under Pluto, the transformation comes in the realm of values. So it's important for the Jack of Spades to tune into that Pluto card and to know, not only know, but understand what that Ace of Diamonds means. Always fresh beginnings. Always having not necessarily the clarity, but certainly the drive and the ambition to create something new, something of value. And once again, with that Ace of Hearts in Neptune, we find that healing energy. And once again, amplified through that Ace of Diamonds in Pluto. But when they commit to this deeper calling, they shine as visionary entrepreneurs, healers, or teachers. And that means it's not about me, myself, and I. It's about others. And our connection to others is so important. In fact, we are never disconnected from them because the disconnection is the illusion of separation. We think that they are the others, but they are only unresolved parts of our own soul, of our own journey. Reminders to turn inwards, once again, to become spiritually adept, to see beyond the vision of the two eyes and obtain the vision of the one eye, the all-seeing eye of God that has overcome the illusion of separation of the two eyes, one here, one there. And with the all-seeing eye of God, there's only univision, one vision, because it integrates both elements, both parts. And that's something very few humans have done or are managing to do this on a practical, on a daily basis. to see the connection between things, between people, between events, and how they can influence it. Because they haven't gone through the spiritual initiation that the Jack of Spades represents. But one way or another, we'll all get there. One way or another, we'll all come in touch with that Jack of Spades energy in our or on our journey through life. And then we are tasked. Do we take responsibility? Do we use that creativity? Do we stay youthful, flexible, ready to learn, willing to learn, and in the end, willing to take responsibility for our actions, for our decisions, for our value systems, for our emotions or our feelings? Because that would elevate us into the realm of the Queen and the King. It's a challenge for the Jack of Spades, but it's certainly doable. Jack of Spades walks between worlds, half shadow, half light. And these planetary influences offer not just insights, but invitations. Invitations to embrace the mental mastery of the Eight of Clubs, the relational integrity of the Six of Diamonds, the emotional charisma of the Ten of Hearts, and the spiritual courage of the Ace of Diamonds. It's not an easy path, but it's one of immense potential. And for that Jack of Spades, potential isn't a dream, it's a mission. Once again, only 2 birthdays for that Jack of Spades. January 3rd, February 1st. No other birthdays carry that card as their birth card. And yes, obviously, a lot more people have it in the planetary sequence. A lot more people have it as a planetary ruler. But natives, only those 2 birthdays. Interesting and challenging card. Certainly a quality that we are only able to handle towards the end of our evolution. Hence the 3rd last card in the deck. And a court card to boot. But we've been through the journey. And in this case, ending it with a 10 of Spades that prepares us for the Jack of Spades. We've gone through the hearts, we've gone through the clubs, we've gone through the diamonds. We've mastered our emotions, we've mastered our mind, we've mastered the values. And then we embarked on the spiritual journey that has led us here to the Jack of Spades. The trickster card, the spiritual initiate, with immense creativity, which is absolutely necessary in that rather heavy field of spirituality. Lifestyle, health, wisdom. Before we finish, just a brief word about the karma cards. The Jack of Spades has a 7 of Clubs as a first karma card and a 10 of Clubs as a second karma card. So that means it has challenges in the realm of spiritual knowledge, and it gets support from the manifestation of knowledge from the teacher's card. So it is here to teach, but first it needs to acknowledge the spiritual component, and that's the inward directed component of the mind, of communication. And it has to guard, in a way, against negative thinking, because that's the low side of that 7 of Clubs first karma card. If you know about Jack of Spades, let me know. If you are Jack of Spades or have a Jack of Spades as your birth card or your planetary ruler, I would love to hear from you. How does it feel? How has it manifested for you thus far? Does it resonate? Is it all far-fetched? Please let me know. And if not, or in any case, rather, I'll see you in the next video. Queen of Spades, second last card. Card of self-mastery. Or if you've watched that already, any other video here in this series. Thank you very much for paying attention. Really appreciate it. And goodbye.